I don't even know how to start this video. This is going to be the hardest video that I've ever had to make. But I feel like I have to make it. If I posted this, then I decided I was ready. Hi, I'm Hannah from J&H Vlogs. And today's video is going to be a story time, I guess, of me telling you guys the truth. If you haven't already seen my video on why I was missing school for a couple months, then I'll link that down below. But basically that video described about me in my 9th grade year and how I missed, I think, 2.5 months of school. And I said it was because of I was sick and I had an illness and everything, and I was at the hospital. But I never truly said what I had. And the truth is, I was a little embarrassed by it. I had anorexia. It's an eating disorder. Anorexia is defined as self-starvation of one's body. I made this video because this month, February, is NEDA, National Eating Disorder Awareness Month, and I felt like I have been hiding everything. This has been a big part of my life for the longest time now, and I haven't told really anyone. I'm tired of saying that I was just sick and not giving them the full explanation. The full explanation is I was anorexic and I was in partial hospitalization. I was in recovery and still am. First, I guess I should start from the beginning. When I was younger, I pretty much ate like a normal person. Like a normal kid. I always eat tuna sandwiches and chicken fingers and fries and cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers and fries were my favorite food, and pizza and ice cream. Yeah. Well, to start off, I was always thinner and always underweight. I have always been that way, and it's just how I was made. But I used to take a medicine that would make me not super hungry. That medicine was for ADHD. When I got off that medicine, I was really hungry, and I just ate pretty much everything. It wasn't binge eating disorder, I was just eating junk food at every meal. So what it looked like was, for breakfast, I would have, like at my dad's house, 2 fresh donuts, like big donuts like this big, and I'd have 2 of those in the morning for breakfast. At school, I was always a picky eater, so I don't really like the school's food, and they had other options, which was pizza or hoagie sandwiches, and I'd always have like pizza or the hoagie sandwich. Then I would get like fries and a snack with that, and that snack would be like cheese puffs or something like that. And I did that for lunch, and then for dinner I would have, usually we were always busy, so usually I'd have something at a fast food restaurant, and I was never fully satisfied with like 1 burger or something. So I would have 2 burgers and a side of large fries and a Pepsi. I always drink a lot of Pepsi, and I used to have ice cream that was like this big, and it was like I'd have half of that. So basically I was really unhealthy. And then that started to show. Since I was always really thinner, my stomach was the only thing noticeable, and the rest of me was still thin, but my stomach was not. And that made me really, really, really self-conscious. I hated myself, everything about myself. Looking in the mirror, I would cry. I'd hate it because my shirts would stick to my rolls, and I hated that for me. So I I didn't have a balanced diet. I didn't have a good diet. I ate only junk food, and that's it. And I ate a lot of it. One day I decided to eat healthier. I started by only doing fast food twice in a week, and having a donut twice a week. Started going a little by the soda. I started working out, and I loved working out, and I was doing really well. I started actually liking more healthy food, so I started eating a balanced diet, a normal diet. I'd eat pizza if it was like a Friday and everybody else was doing it, but I'd also eat really healthy, and I'd eat salads and wraps and anything good for you, and smoothies, and I like to do that. But I would also eat like a cheeseburger or something, and I was doing really good. I was having really good results, and I was normal. I looked perfectly well and healthy, and I was, and that was probably my happiest. Going through Instagram and looking at the models and stuff, I was like feeling bad about myself because I didn't have the perfect body. I didn't have abs or anything, and that's what I wanted to do. So I would work out more, and I started eating only healthy foods. I'd have a smoothie or something, or overnight oats for breakfast, so a good, nice breakfast. But then for lunch, I would only have a salad with this much chicken for protein, and I'd cut that up into little tiny pieces so it looked bigger, and put that throughout the salad. And of course, I wouldn't have any dressing. I would have one strawberry, and I'd cut it up into little tiny pieces and put that everywhere. That would be my lunch. And I'd have a water with that or something. And I'd work out a lot. I'd work out for like 3 hours every single day. And then for dinner, I pretty much forced my family to only eat healthy. My mom also, she makes healthy food. They always have like good healthy food options too, but then it got to the point where I would only eat the healthy options. If she made mac and cheese or something, I wouldn't eat it. Even if it was just once a week, I wouldn't eat it. And it got so bad that whenever we go to restaurants, if there wasn't anything healthy, as in I wouldn't eat anything that was like had extra cheese on it or had any kind of carb. No carbs. And that was what was really bad. I eliminated carbs from my diet completely, and I had very little fat. So whenever we go out to eat, I'd just have a couple strips of grilled chicken or a salad with like no cheese or no dressing or anything like that, and that's pretty much all I ate. Mostly all I ate was grilled chicken all the time, and sometimes like grilled salmon. I remember it was around homecoming, and we were getting a dress, and I was dress shopping with my mom, and we looked into the store, and when I tried on a dress, my mom she stopped, and she looked at me and she said, "Hannah, you don't look so good. Your bones are very, very well shown. I don't know if that's good or not." And I've had scoliosis since I was a baby, so I kind of just pass it off as that. I was in denial. I didn't even know that I had an eating disorder. I thought all the time that I was just eating super healthy and I was super great. But guys, I can't stress this enough. A perfect diet is eating healthy foods like 80% of the time, but also having that 20% fun, like ice cream or something like that, or pizza or cheeseburgers. Just like having that every once in a while isn't going to kill you. In fact, that's good for you because you need everything. You need food, you need calories, which I wasn't doing. I was killing myself. without me even knowing it. I was in denial, so I said, no, I just have scoliosis. Then it started getting to the point where my friends would start getting nervous about me too. They started saying, Hannah, you're really, really thin and you're looking tired. Are you okay? And I just pass it off and say, oh, I'm really fit and healthy. But all I was ever thinking every single day was would be my next meal and how I could limit it. And I was always so hungry, you guys. I was always hungry. All I ever thought about was food. While I was taking a test, I was thinking about food. While I was exercising, I was thinking about food. While I was singing for chorus, I was thinking about food. I was always thinking about food. Because I was always so hungry, but I would never let myself eat. Because I thought I was being healthy. I remember watching videos on people recovering from eating disorders, and I always thought, oh, I feel so bad for them. At least I'm healthy and I don't have to go through that. I would never skip meals. But guys, anorexia is not just skipping meals. You can have an eating disorder by limiting your food and not taking in enough. I have always had a pretty fast metabolism. Even with all that junk food, it only had like weight in my stomach, and my metabolism has always been pretty fast. So I need more than 2,000 calories, which is the normal. I need a little bit more than that anyways. So for me to limit myself to 800 calories a day was bad. It got so bad that I remember I saw some of my family at a restaurant once. My aunt looked at me and she said, "You're looking very thin. Are you sick? Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about." And she looked like she was slapped across the face. She had tears in her eyes, and I couldn't understand why she looked so scared. But then I later found out why. What happened was one day my mom, still scared because I wouldn't really eat, took me to the doctor's for a checkup, and when we went in to get weighed, the doctor looked at me in her eyes and she was freaking out, and told my mom, she's like, I think something's wrong, and she said for me to get on the scale again, so I did. I was 75 pounds. So I was 5'5" and 75 pounds at 14 years old. My doctor didn't know what to do, so she told us to go to this hospital, and this hospital is in this town, and pretty much that town is known for that hospital. That's pretty much what the town is for, because that hospital has like the best doctors around us and everything. So she sent us there, and I ended up getting weighed and everything, and they put me and hooked me up to all these machines, and they told me that I need to eat more, and they said that I have an eating disorder. They looked at me and said that I have anorexia. And I cried and I said, no, I didn't. And they said, yes, you do. Because they asked me what I was eating every day, and I told them a rough estimate of what I ate. And they looked at me and said, you have anorexia. I cried so much. And I said, no, I don't. I'm just healthy. I'm healthy. And they're like, no, you're not. First, they recommended that I go out of state. I go to this program away from my parents, and I'd be there by myself recovering. I cried so much about that, and I knew that I would not be able to do that. My parents could not deal having me away from them when they know that I'm in harm. Then they suggested that right across from there they had a eating disorder clinic for partial hospitalization, and that's where I ended up going. The partial program was really what helped me. What my meal plan looked like was, my first day was a lot of paperwork and a lot of stuff like that, and I automatically got a doctor who helped with eating disorders, a nutritionist, and a psychiatrist, and also a therapist. My nutritionist talked to me and she told me what I would eat. For the first day I ever got there, they made me eat a sandwich, which was a turkey sandwich with cheese and bread. It was whole wheat bread, and I cried because I was having whole wheat bread. That's how bad it was. I was so scared of eating carbs that I was so upset to have turkey sandwich. Later that day, I could no longer stay at home because my home was like an hour and a half away, and it was just too much for my parents to drive. So they had, right next to this eating disorder clinic, they had this amazing place called the Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald House, if you don't already know, is where people can stay that are at a hospital, but they also allowed people from the eating disorder clinic to stay there if they were too far away from home. So basically, it was kind of like a hotel in a way, except they made dinner for you, and those dinners were great because I could fit them in perfectly into my meal plan. And I'd have breakfast and lunch at the clinic. So, and every day we'd have a challenge. On Monday, the challenge was a candy bar. The first day I ever went there, I was already challenged enough with having a sandwich and crying so much, and they said that since it was my first day, they're gonna give me a break from the challenge. So I didn't have a challenge the first day, but usually it was a Monday, and usually Mondays are candy bar days. So you have a candy bar, you have your main, which they'd always have like sandwiches or something left over from the hospital, and we'd have that, and we'd as our main, and then we'd have a candy bar. So you'd have a main, depending on what your meal plan is, another like a fruit or something, a drink, and a candy bar. That was so hard, you guys, which is really sad because for a normal teenager would love eating candy bars all the time. Tuesdays where we would pack our own lunch and would bake something, like we'd bake cookies or something, and it was really hard, me watching the sugar go into the bowl. And on Wednesdays were also my appointment days. So every Wednesday I would go and see my doctor, psychiatrist, nutritionist, and every one of them. Wednesdays were also pizza. So they'd order pizza. Terrible pizza. I am lactose intolerant, so I usually take the cheese off. Then I wasn't allowed to take cheese off, so I had to take a lactate pill to have pizza. I don't know. I really hated their pizza. Let's just say that. And then on Thursdays, we would go out and go to the hospital for cafeteria lunches. The cafeteria at the hospital was nothing like, it was like a restaurant. Like, they had salmon and like the times it was like a normal balanced meal. But then the catch was we'd have to have a dessert with that. We'd either have to have ice cream, a cake, or pie. That was hard for me. And on Fridays would be the challenge breakfast, and we'd eat like cinnamon rolls or pancakes or something like that. And to you guys, you might not, if you don't have an eating disorder or never experienced it, you would probably not know how scary that is for someone that is. For me, it was like I was in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. I was in partial for 2.5 months before I could go to school. So I was starting to go to school, but whenever they put you back in school, they have to see if you're going to do well at school and if you're actually going to follow your meal plan and eat. So I had 2 days at school, and then I wouldn't be at school for the rest of the week. I finally got to go to school, but I'd still have appointments at the eating disorder clinic twice a month. I went home a little before my birthday, which was in March 17th. Fast forward to now, it is February 6th. I'm still on my meal plan. I now go to that eating disorder clinic every once a month to visit, and I'm still in recovery. Right now, I still have 20 pounds left to go. But I did only have 10 pounds left to go. But I ended up relapsing because of a lot of stress that I was under. But whenever I relapsed was a lot different than whenever I first had my eating disorder. This time, I was actually skipping meals. And my parents still don't know. Nobody knows that I have relapsed. And I'm still in that relapsing period of my life right now. And I just decided today that I'm going to step up. My doctor I think they kind of know what's going on because they suggested I go back to program, but I told them no. And I'm trying not to go back to program. I'm starting to eat my meal plan again. I'm slowly but surely eating again and being happy again. So I cannot say that I'm fully recovered yet. It has been over a year. Started having my eating disorder in June, but it got really, really bad in October, which is in November is whenever I ended up going to program. And yeah, so I've been in recovery for over a year now, and I'm still recovering, but I know that recovery is hard, yes, but it's going to be so worth it. The reason I decided to share this story right now is because I knew that I was relapsing, and I knew that I need to get my act together. And I feel like being able to talk about this will really help. Now, I have always been ashamed of having an eating disorder. And I know that I shouldn't be because I can't really control it. Even though it's a mental disorder, it's a disorder, and I didn't want people to look at me and think, oh, she's anorexic. I didn't want that to be the first thing people saw when they saw me. I wanted them to think, oh, that's Hannah, I love her, she's so cool and fun. But I made my YouTube channel to talk about things, and what's the point of having a channel if you can't help others out? So I made this to bring awareness, because it is National Eating Disorder Awareness Month. I made this to bring awareness and to tell you that you're not alone. Many people go through eating disorders and stuff like that, and there will always be someone out there who is. And I look at myself every day in the mirror, and I'm not always happy with what I see. So you need to realize that, and even if someone is a little bigger, you don't have to be super thin to have an eating disorder. You can have anorexia and you can still be bigger just because that's the way you were made. You can also have bulimia whenever you throw up after eating. You can have binge eating disorder when you eat a lot and you can't stop. But we all need to learn to love ourselves, and I'm still doing that, and I know it's hard, but I want you to realize that we can do this together. We can love ourselves together. And I actually, to help myself, I downloaded a recovery app that will remind me to eat and give me good quotes. And I just want to say, if you know that you have an eating disorder, please get help. Going to program was the best thing that I have ever done. I was losing my hair. I was freezing all the time. And you don't want that to happen. And you're just going to get worse and worse and worse, and it can kill you. Eating disorders are killing you. And it's not fun. It's not a way to live. So please reach out to someone if you know you're struggling. Or if you see someone and this video helps you realize that someone you know is struggling, reach out to them, please. Now, Now I just need to say that I am not ashamed. I need to look at myself every day and think that I'm beautiful. We all are. We're beautiful people, and God intended many good things for us. And if you're not religious or anything, just know that you were created and you shouldn't be created to end your life. I think that you're beautiful, no matter what you look like. No matter boy, girl, anyone. Non-binary. We're all here for each other. And I hope that sharing my story will help you feel less alone. Love you guys, and I know this video is really long and really different and tough, but I wanted to say the truth, and now I feel like a weight has lifted off my shoulders. Bye. See you in my next video.